What is up to all the good people of America and all the good people across this world? Matthew here. Excuse my voice. I'm losing my voice from whatever. um Last night I went out to dinner with somebody from the church, and now first of all, to all you human beings out there that doubt faith in God, um I can only tell you from what I know. There is things that occur in this world to certain human beings, to those of us who are very connected with God, where God shows us things. And there's another gentleman who I know for 100% sure is just as connected with God as I am. And while we were at dinner, he said, Matthew, he said, God showed me some things about your father. And he made the sign of pulling a trigger with a gun as to tell me your father murdered people when he was a cop. And I said, I know. I already know that. I know that since I was, I knew that since I was a little boy. And I told him, I said, yeah. And he paid dearly for it. He made mistakes because, like I said in other videos, I mean, the people in this world will send us off to fight war, to fight their wars without any care whatsoever about what those wars do to us and our families. You know what I mean? And to anybody that fights war, when you come home, if you survive that war, whatever damage was done to you is going to be passed on to your family. And in my father's, in my father's, for my father, what he went through, I paid dearly. I paid dearly, and I've always held his secret since the day, as early since I, I can still remember like it was yesterday, the first time that I looked at my father. I was a little boy. It was him and other cops telling a story, and I looked at him like, wait, who are you? Why? Like, it's a whole nother story. But yeah, it all stems from the 1977. It stems from the war with the Black Liberation Army, and then it stems from the 1977 blackouts of July of 1977. There was this senior cop that was he ended up going on to become president of the PBA. I'm sure he's dead by now, but he was just, my father told me that he was a racist. He was a racist through and through. Him and his little crew of cops were all a bunch of white racists. And when the 77 blackouts happened, because okay, in 1971 the Black Liberation Army assassinated, I believe it was somewhere from like 11 to 13 NYPD officers in 1971 alone. And when the blackouts happened in 77, that racist cop, who was kind of like a gang leader basically, had turned to all the cops below him and told them like, meet us here, when your shift ends, meet us here. And retribution, that's what he, in his racist mind, it's our chance to finally, now that the world, blackout, now that the Bronx is burning, now that Bedford Stuyvesant has no power and everything's being looted and everything's in chaos, we can get away with retribution. We can commit murder. We can pay them back for everything they did to us and make them pay, and we can get away with it because there's so much chaos going on. They won't even know who did what. And their plan didn't quite work out as that racist cop thought, because they forgot to realize that they forgot that they used their police issued bullets, which I guess somehow were marked. And after the fact, they were pulling police lead out of bodies, and that ended up triggering an investigation on my father and 20 other cops that led to my father and 20 other cops being suspended and under investigation, facing a grand jury evaluation for everything from many counts of murder to rape to just all this horrific stuff. And I'm not going to go into detail about what took place in these videos. So In another video I had shared that I'm going to use my father's estate to make this world a better place. And part of that is my story. And to the African American community, I'm not going to apologize because I didn't do those things. But all I can tell you is I'm 110% honest, man. My father paid dearly, and whatever he did, I don't know exactly what my father did. I just know he was complicit to some extent. Some extent. I do believe he did probably pull a trigger on at least one human being, and he regretted it. He regretted it. I think looking back, God showed me the same exact things that he showed that man. And the only thing I could say is my father regretted that he wasn't a stronger man, because he loved the African American community. And whatever he did on that night, because he felt like he had to, because he was a cop and he was surrounded, I think I think he wished, just like I, was like, if I got to go to war with the Sinaloa cartel, I will go to war all by my lonely. I think my father regretted that he didn't have the same mindset about his partners. I know things had gotten to the point with his fellow officers, which is what led to him latching on to me. They knew his heart wasn't in it, and he was really scared that they were going to whack him out. You know what I mean? That his fellow officers were going to kill him because of his, he wasn't a racist. He didn't, had made it, whatever he did, it was a mistake. And they sensed that. And, this one cop, and I know this cop, I met this cop, this racist piece of shit, and I hope he's dead. And I hope he's rotting in hell, that guy. I really do. I hope he is burning in hell. Because even as a kid, I was like, this guy is a piece of shit. This is a guy, I can just feel it, like evil. This dude is evil. You know what I mean? Or just a white, angry racist. That's what racists do. They justify everything they do, what's done to them, but they don't look what they do to other human beings. You know what I mean? That's what racists, that's what, people do. It's a human condition. People justify everything that they do to others, but they don't look at what they do to, which causes, what they're doing to cause that. You know what I mean? There's two sides, like they said, there's two sides to every story, and or three sides to every story, your side, my side, and then, the truth, which is somewhere in the middle most of the time. And, I'm not going to tell these stories for free. My plan is to market that and use money, you know what I mean? Write it into books and then sell those books and then use 90% of everything I make off of those books. I got to survive and make a living, but I don't need much. I don't need much to survive, so like, and it's crazy, that gentleman that said God showed me this last night in this church meeting, he said the same exact thing. 90-10 split. 10% I keep, 90% for doing God's work. And that was like, wow, God really is real, because I've had that same plan for as long as since I was in my 20s. 10% I'll keep because I have to make a living, and 90% of everything I make I am going to use to help the African American community, to help America, to help my fellow Christians, to help good people, to help them, you know what I mean? To help them. And, and like, and that's the thing is, like, people have corrupted, in order to do that, there's got to be honesty, honor, integrity, and openness. You know what I mean? You have to make the finances open so the people can see them and they can see where every dollar is going to. You know what I mean? My plan is to build a board of men who the people trust, men and women who the people trust, and appoint them, and then make everything open so they can see 90% of every dollar being made is going to the community, to better, the betterment of the community. And, it is what it is, like, that's my plan. So, but, I pray my father made it into heaven. I sincerely do, because he was a good man. And I believe he did make it into heaven. I believe he suffered a little bit, but, things took place that showed me, my father wasn't a bad man. He wasn't. If he was, I would tell you he was. He wasn't. He was a good man at his core. But war, if you want to play soldier, man, it's got a way of destroying us. If you don't, if you're not fighting for 100% the right reasons. And my father had a choice. He could have quit being a cop at any time. But he felt like, because we come from a family of NYPD, and he didn't feel like he had a choice, kind of like how I felt as a kid in the criminal world, or even as an adult in the criminal world. But I look back now, and we always have a choice. We always have a choice. It doesn't matter what color your skin is. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, straight or gay. It doesn't matter if you are just human. If you are human, you have a choice. You have a choice. We all have a choice. We were all born with free will. So anyway, yeah, I got to quit talking now because I'm losing my voice. I love y'all. Pray for me, and I will be praying for every single one of y'all. Peace.